In the first unit, we had learned about the open channel. We'll see that. So we know that open channel flow. What is the open channel flow? We know that. Let's see. Open channel flow represents the flow through the channel that are open to the atmosphere and liquid flows with a free surface. Okay, whatever the free surface is flowing, so that we can consider as the open channel flow. It includes river, canal, okay, weir, spillway, all are the those comes under the open channel. Further we see then application of open channel flow. So what are the applications? So for the measuring the discharge in the rivers or canals. Okay, further we see developing a relationship between the depth of flow and the discharge in the channel. Next, it's estimating the areas of submerged due to construction of the dams on a river. Then preventing the very high velocity flow from damaging the channels. Next point says studying the spread of pollutants in a river, estimating the time taken by the flood wave to pass through a given length of a river, estimating change in the flow depth due to overland runoff. So these are the some applications of open channel. We go a bit fast because we had read in detail before. Then we learn about some difference between the pipe flow and the open channel flow. Those are the channels, the flow could be, you can allow the flow through the pipe or through the open channel flow. So this is a very important, many times asked in the examination. So we included. Okay, so we already learned. So in the pipe flow, we see the flow in the pipe takes place due to pressure difference, and the open channel due to slope at bed. Okay, that gravitational force only is there in the open channel flow. Due to the gravitational flow, the flow is taking place. Okay, next point says the pressure of different section along the flow is different, and in the open channel the pressure at different section along the flow is same. Next it says the pipe are always running full. Okay, the channels are not running full, we know that experience in daily life. Okay, next point says Hadley gradient line always slope downward. Okay, Hadley gradient line coincide with water free surface. Then further it says the Reynolds number is used as the non-dimensional to solve pipe flow problems. Okay, next Faraday number is used as the non-dimensional number to the open channel problems. Okay, these are some points which you can see. Here you can see by means of diagram also we discussed already. Okay, so you can just note it down. We will move bit fast because we had already read, so not take much time because we have to do the revision, fast revision for the all the units. Okay, next the types of channels we read already. I will provide these notes, okay, in your Google Classroom, so you can read there also in details. But here
सर ये थर्ड यूनिट है?
it is the very first unit.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So because some of the students were facing difficulty, okay, in the connecting with the subjects, so I just make them more comfortable, okay, so that they can easily cover their syllabus. Okay. In the types of channels, we had learned about the prismatic and non-prismatic channels. We already know about the prismatic and non-prismatic channels. So prismatic channels are those who having some fixed shape and dimensions, okay, like rectangular, triangular, okay, circular, whatever. And the non-prismatic, those are like natural bodies, natural free flow, like rivers or some downstream, like we see coming from the Himalayas and all. Glacier is melting and the water is just free flowing, so they just make their own way. So that is comes under non-prismatic channels. We see that a channel in which x section shape and the size and the bottom slope are constant is called prismatic channel. Okay, so what are so prismatic channels are have some cross section. Okay, some cross sections are there. It's a fixed cross section, as we had seen by means of figures also, like it may be triangular, trapezoidal, circular, whatever its shape. So how this shape is being maintained, it is a man-made actually, so that's why the shape is maintained. So these all we considered it as a prismatic channel. Okay, so you can see that it may be rectangular, trapezoidal, circular, or triangular, whatever. And next we see all the natural channels generally have varying cross sections. Okay, all the natural channels, as we discussed, like the all the up down streams, okay, river flow flowing through, like natural flow of water, we see the glacier melted and water just flowing freely under gravity. So that will be forming non-prismatic channels. Okay, so these are called as non-prismatic channels. So all the natural channels what we imagine or see around, that are non-prismatic channels. Next one is rigid and mobile boundary channels. So rigid channels which are fixed, okay, the way the boundary line is fixed. So rigid channels are those in which the boundary is not deformable. So they are not deformable, no erosion taking place. It may be cemented or any by means, if there is some fixed boundary line, like just like a canals, sewers. Okay, these are some examples you can take as a rigid boundaries. Next it says all unlined channels and the natural rivers in which the boundary deformation due to continuous process of erosion. But as we take the other example, like in the natural, like you see in the rivers, so sometimes there is a heavy flow in the rainy season. There is a rate of water flow increases. Okay, so when the water increases, so there is a chances of erosion from the sides of the river bank. Okay, so they are, so they and that can be comes under the mobile boundary channels. Okay, they are not rigid because uh, as the motion increase, so there is a chances of erosion. So that boundary is not fixed, that keep on changing or shifting. So that is that is the that is the mobile boundary channels. Okay, similarly we see next we have the natural and artificial channels. What are the natural and artificial channels? So natural channels are those channels which have irregular sections of varying shapes, as we know that rivers or some streams, downstreams or anything. So such kind of flow, that will be natural channels. And the artificial, when we're talking about, so artificial are those channels which are made artificially or carrying water. They are they are regular geometrical shapes, as we told you, like canals and all, having a rectangular shape, triangular shape, trapezoidal, or whatever shape it has. Some geometric shape it maintains throughout the channel. So that are artificial channels. So artificial channels are what? Those are not natural. Those are man-made. So they can be comes under the artificial channel. Okay. By means of this figure, you can see there is a geometrical parameter of the channel. So there is a some shape that is a this kind of shape. You can see there is it has got some depth. Okay, it has some dimension. So there is a fixed shape. This is a parameter. Okay, partially circular. Okay, so this is the this kind of channels you can consider it as a artificial channels. Next we have very important one, that is the wetted parameter. So wetted parameter we already learned. So let's see that it is the length of the channel boundary in contact with the flowing water. Okay, at any section. Wetted parameters, those areas of the uh, canal or any flowing water flowing through. So the land surface, okay, whatever the surface is in direct contact with the water, so that is the wetted parameter. Okay, we already learned about all in detail. Next one is next is a few important terms we see. Okay, next one is the depth of the flow. So that is also important. In the figure you can see here. So this is the Y showing you the depth of the flow. So depth of the flow, it is the vertical direction of the lowest point of the channel section from the free surface. Okay, so that we know simple. That is the depth, whatever the depth of the water, that we can just take it as a Y. Okay, so depth of whatever the flow is there inside the channel, so that is will come under the depth of flow. Next important term, that is the width. Okay, the top width, that is denoted by T. In the figure you can see this is the T, that is the width. Okay, similar, just we are just checking about the all the dimensions, geometrical parameters, so we are just taking out. So top width, that is also simple, it is the width of the channel section at free surface. So we call it as a free surface because it is exposed to the atmosphere, so that we call it as a free surface. So that is the width of channel. Okay, next one is the wetted area. So now we talk about the wetted area, that is denoted by capital A, and we know that area you can calculate depending upon the nature of the geometrical design. Okay, it is the cross-sectional area of the flow normal to the direction of flow. So we just take that. Okay, we can just calculate whatever the depending upon the nature of the design. Okay, we just calculate the area. So next one is hydraulic radius. Okay, hydraulic radius also you can calculate. Radius is radius, when it comes it means that will be r, present by r, but it is circular or semicircular, that's why the radius is being used. So hydraulic radius, let's see that it is the ratio of wetted area to its wetted parameter. So there is a fixed, uh, you can calculate the hydraulic radius by using this equation. R is equals to A by P, that is area of its wetted parameter, you can calculate by A by P. Okay, you can see this is the parameter and A is the area, so you can just calculate it like this. Next one is hydraulic depth, that is also important. Hydraulic depth, so it is the ratio of the wetted area to the top width. Okay, so we need, so that you can calculate by M or D is equals to A by T. Just put these values and you will get that hydraulic depth. Next we see next one is section factor. So this is also important. So it is the product of wetted area and the square root of the hydraulic depth. So need not to go there, just note it down, this one. Z is equals to under root A3 A cube by T. Okay, so it is the product of, simply we can see that what is the section factor, that is the, it is the product of the wetted area and the square root of the hydraulic depth. Next term we have, that is the energy gradient line. So energy gradient line, it is also important. So the line which is the sum of pressure head, okay, kinetic head and datum head with respect to the datum line is said to be energy gradient line. Okay, so you can just use this formula we learned already. So that is the energy gradient line. Next we have hydraulic gradient line. Hydraulic gradient line, the line which is the sum of pressure head and the datum head with respect to the datum line is said to be hydraulic gradient line. Okay, so we learned already. This is simple definitions, we can just note it down. And then further we have some classification of open channel flow. Let's see that this is all we had learned slowly. So we just open channel flow further classified into steady flow and unsteady flow, then steady flow, then further divided into uniform flow, non-uniform flow, we learn all. And this unsteady flow is divided into uniform flow, non-uniform flow. Similarly, all the classification we see: gravity varied flow, rapidly varied flow, non-uniform flow. So we had all covered these all. simple classifications. So slowly we just covered all. Um, so steady flow, what are the steady flow? We know that the flow characteristic such as depth of flow, flow velocity, and the flow rate of at any cross section does not change with the respect to time, then the flow is said to be steady flow. So when it do not change with respect to time, so that type of flow is called a steady flow. Means there is still water. There is no motion in the water. There is no motion. It's not showing motion with time, with respect to time. So that kind of flow is called as steady flow. So by the equation you can see is equals to 0. Okay. Next, see, that is the unsteady flow. So what are the unsteady flow? We know that the flow characteristic such as depth of flow, flow velocity, and the flow rate of at any cross section changes with respect to time, then the flow is said to be unsteady flow. So at the just reverse of it, if it's showing some changes with respect to time, so that kind of flow we can take it as a unsteady flow. Means the some water body is moving. Okay, there is some showing some kind of flow in the fluid. We can see some kind of flow in the fluid, so that is unsteady flow with respect to time. So we just note it down. Now there is a uniform flow. Uniform flow, we know it will be showing you some kind of uniformity. Let's see that if the depth, velocity, slope, area of channel remain constant over in the length of the channel, then the flow is said to be uniform flow. Suppose when you observe the top surface, so there is showing you some uniformity. Okay, at the cross section 1 and the cross section 2, if you just observe both the cross section having the same depth, same velocity, same slope, so that kind of flow that you can take it as a uniform flow. Next we have non-uniform flow. So in the non-uniform flow, in the reverse of it means showing it, it will be showing you some kind of variations. So in there is a flow and that is non-uniform. So we can take it. If the depth of the channel varies with respect to length of the channel, then the flow is said to be non-uniform flow or varied flow. Simple. So if you learn one definition, you will automatically connect to the another one. Okay. So next one, the rapidly varied flow means there is some rapid action is taking place, some variations you see, rapid variation you can see in the flow of fluid. So you can just take that. The depth of flow rapidly changes over a comparatively small length of channel, then the flow is said to be rapidly varied flow. So rapidly varied flow will be taking place at a very small length up to some few meters or few feet, because there is a some passages been provided, okay, or some disturbance created in the flowing flow of water in between. So you can see some kinds of variations. So you can see that like say falls and all, like waterfall, you see there is rapid in that particular area, there is a fall, you can see. So that is the up and downs are there, so there is a natural phenomena that is called this kind of things we can take it as a rapidly varied flow. Next one is gravely varied flow. Gravely varied flow means it will show you some kind of fixed rate of change in the flow of water. Okay, so let's see. The change in depth of flow takes place gradually over a length of the channel, then the flow is said to be gravely varied flow. Means it will showing you some kind of slope, okay, fixed slope, fixed variation. It is not random, it is not rapid, it is gradual. Gradual means it is showing some slow deformation to a particular length. Okay, like suppose 10 feet, 100 feet, 50 feet, whatever the length, it is showing you some kind of fixed gradual variation, that is we call as gradually varied flow. Next we see. So this by this means of diagram you can see there's a gradually varied flow. Here you can see the variation, there is some obstruction is there. Suppose there is a water body, there is a river in between, some stone or some mountain comes. Okay, so that will obviously will obstruct the way of water. So when the water will allow to pass, what will happen, the water will coming from this way, and what will happen, it will fill this area. Okay, after that water will start overflowing to over the, it will start flowing over the that obstruction. Okay, obstruction or that mountain in form of a rock or something. So it will start flowing over that, and in that way you will face that kind of variations you see at the top when you observe the top surface of the water, you will see that some kind of depth or some kind of flow up and downs will be created, okay, in the forms of currents, or some eddies will be formed. So this area will terms as the gravely varied flow. And here, due to the obstruction, there's some kinds of obstruction experienced by the flow of water, so that will be showing you rapidly varied flow, because it will be happening in that particular area where the obstruction exists. So that's why this rapidly varied flow taking place in that particular short length. So that's why it is a rapidly varied flow. And after that, we will get that gravely varied flow, because it comes like that. So due to the obstruction, so we experience all the kinds of different flows experienced by the flow of fluid. Next one is type of flow. So type of flow we learned already. Let's see that one by one. So first one is Faraday number. Faraday number is used to define the flow. So we see that it is defined as the ratio of square root of inertia flow to gravitational flow. So by means of equation, we can just know Fr is equals to under root Fi upon Fg. Okay, Fr is finally with the Fr is equals to V by under root Gm, where V is the mean velocity of the flow, V is the mean velocity of the flow, and M is the mean depth of the flow, and G is the gravity. We know that. Next one is the Reynolds number. We just discussed in very detail in the classes. Okay, here also there's, you can just check it out and note the things. So it is defined as the ratio of inertial force to the viscous force. Okay, so simple definition: ratio of inertial force to the viscous force. That will be the Reynolds number. Okay, the equation we know, so you can just note it down. Next one is in this equation we just see, so R is equals to rho VRN upon mu. So this, so Reynolds number is represented by Re, and mu is the viscosity of water, and rho is the density of water. Okay, V is the mean velocity of flow. Okay, and this Rn is the hydraulic radius of channel. Okay, next one is laminar flow. So this is very important. Many times it is asked, what is a laminar flow? What is turbulent flow? So you can just, in the fluid mechanics, you had learned all. So here also the terms comes, that is the laminar flow. We know that in the open channel, the flow is said to be laminar if Reynolds number is less than 500. Okay, the value is less than 500. So that is kind of flow, we can take it as a laminar flow. Then another type of flow, we have the transit flow or miscellaneous. Okay, some mixed things shown to you, the miscellaneous. So that is a transit flow. So if the Reynolds number lies in between 500 to 2000, then the flow is said to be transit flow. So we know that already. So between 500 to 2000, so that is the transit flow. The turbulent flow, if the Reynolds number is greater than 2000, then the flow is said to be turbulent flow. So we learn all for the turbulent flow. When it is greater than 2000, so that value is termed as turbulent flow. Next one is, we have subcritical flow. So we know that subcritical flow. So if the Faraday number is less than 1, then it is said to be subcritical flow. When it is the value showing less than 1, Faraday number is less than 1, so that types of flow we can take it as a subcritical flow. It is also called a streaming flow or tranquil. Okay, just note it down. Okay, Faraday number is less than 1.
सर ट्रांजिएंट और लैमिनार फ्लो में क्या अंतर है?
By means of these values, you can just differentiate. Okay, you asking about transit flow?
ट्रांजिट एंड लैमिनार.
Laminar is in a straight line path.
Laminar flow, I told you, in the open channel flow is said to be when the Reynolds number is less than 500. So that is laminar flow. And next one you say, asking about turbulent.
Transient flow.
Huh?
Transient flow.
Turbulent. So turbulent flow, that if the Reynolds number is greater than 2000, so then the flow is said to be turbulent flow.